Hi everybody, Dr. Will Gonzaba here with Almas Park Physio, and today I want to talk to you about the real cause of your pain and why a lot of times it's not as simple as just a mechanical diagnosis. So in most of our lives, we have more than just one thing going on that is causing our symptoms, no matter what that might be, if that's from cycling or running. The fact of the matter is that most of us are recreational athletes. We can be serious recreational athletes, or we might not be all that serious in whatever our sport is. Maybe we just do it occasionally, right? But the fact of the matter is we have other responsibilities. We have families, we have work, we have maybe other hobbies, and we've got other things we need to do in our daily lives outside of just training or taking care of our bodies. So when pain does come along, when you do have a mechanical issue, a lot of times all the other things that are going on in your life contribute to how you experience those symptoms, right? And really there is this cycle that I see that people fall into. And we'll go through that, but really you have to understand that with looking at this cycle that you can really hop in at any point along this circle. So we'll start at the top. Usually the first thing that I see is people lack control over one or more aspects of their life. So what does that mean when you lack control? It can look like a lot of things. It can be a very stressful work environment with external pressures to meet productivity standards, to meet sales quotas, to meet various deadlines. There is factors that you cannot necessarily control within your day-to-day job that lead to stress. We all experience that, right? And so that puts us right over to the next category of stress. So stress is a real thing. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your work scenario might be. You are going to experience stress in one way or another. And what we know now about pain is that stress and the way that we handle that stress affects how we perceive pain. So one of the things we know about chronic pain is that one of the biggest underlying factors for people who experience chronic pain is that they have a high stress level. So if you think about pain in the most simplistic manner, pain is only a perception in your brain. It's a perception to an input. And when you have a high stress level, your brain is going to have a heightened awareness of those negative inputs, right? So we are really going to perceive those painful stimuli, and it's going to register in our brain as always being on. It's going to be hard to regulate that. Okay, so stress is one of them, right? And a lot of times the stress is coming from some sort of culprit, be it at work or with the family or something like that, right? So then what ends up happening is this begins to affect our activity level, right? So a lot of times this is what happens is you have a stressful job, you go home, you're stressed out, you're tired, you're fatigued, and your activity level takes a big hit. It decreases drastically, right? So we decide to maybe have a glass of wine instead of go for a 30-minute run, or we do a quick workout and then have a beer instead of doing some deregulation, some stretching, some mobility work to calm our senses, okay? And then what does that lead to? This lack of activity, this stress, it leads to poor sleep habits, all right? So if we are choosing to have a glass of wine or a beer before going to bed or late into the evening, that's gonna affect the way you sleep. If you're carrying a lot of stress that you have not blown off because of a lack of activity, you're gonna carry that stress over into the bed and you're not gonna be able to sleep as well. And so now we have poor sleep on top of a lack of activity, on top of stress, which leads then to pain and how our body handles those painful stimuli. Okay, so you can really insert that pain along any part of this circle, but once you experience it, all of these other factors are going to contribute into how you manage that pain. Okay, so a lot of times, what we do as physical therapists is we try to just treat this. to just look at the pain, right? But you can't just do that. If we're gonna get people to the other side of these chronic issues, you have to look at all of these factors, at stress management, at activity management, at sleep management, and account for all of those things, right? And educate. You have to look at these things as individual factors that contribute to how you will recover. Okay, so we'll talk about each of those later in this video series, but this is the first part to understand the cycle of what contributes to your pain. All right, y'all. Thank you.